Podcast with me, Shy Yeti.
Hello and welcome to the Shy Life Podcast, episode 6. This time we've got part 2 of my interview with my old school friend Harry. We'll be talking about nights out, night clubbing and holidays we've shared. I've also done a recreation of one of my Shy Yeti scripts, so I hope that comes out alright. We'll also be plundering my vinyl collection to see what curious things lurk within. Anyway, we've got lots to be getting on with, so let's move on. I hope you enjoy it. So, here we are for episode 6 of the Shy Life Podcast. I don't like to go any further without having a little chat with you, but having to take it a bit slow. There's a lot of pollen out here today. I'm a bit bunged up, but it is nice. Well, that said, the sky has gone a bit grey. There could well be a storm. I mean, it's June, what do you expect? Well, what have I been up to? Well, I suppose I should probably tell you where I am first. I'm quite near where I live. I'm lucky that there are towpaths for 2 different places very close to where I live. One is the way navigation that goes towards Guildford and even further. The episode I did with my friend Paul from school, that was on a bit of the way navigation but a lot further down. The other towpath, the one I'm on today, is part of the Basingstoke Canal, and that doesn't go to Basingstoke. Not anymore anyway. It used to do. There are also cyclists coming, so have me stand aside now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, Basingstoke Canal. Oh, here comes another cyclist. I'm going to get run down. Let me just stand in this bed of nettles so they can go past. Thanks. Yes, the Basingstoke Canal does not go to Basingstoke anymore because the end of it was built over. Housing estate was built over the end of it, so it literally vanishes into a tunnel full of bats, and that's it. I don't think it ever emerges the other side. I have walked down there with Callum before now. There's an old castle not so far from the point where it ends. So what else have I been up to? Not a great deal, mainly. Callum and I went for a curry the other day. We were going for the meal that we meant to go for when I was sick in Amsterdam, so we never actually had a birthday meal for him, so we went out for that. That was good. It was quite close to where we work. Other than that, not been very far. Just been working on my books, my scripts, and my blog. Don't have to prepare too much for my poetry show. I just want to be performing stuff from my latest book, Yeti Way of Thinking, and there'll be other things. It really depends who's in the audience, really. If it's people who don't know my poetry, I may read sort of old ones that they haven't heard, that I'm particularly fond of. Or if there are people who've been there a lot, then, or have been to many of my shows, then I might try and read new stuff. So fortunately, I haven't got the sort of memory where I can remember all of my poems. So mostly I'm reading from books, my books, not just random books. And yeah, hopefully we'll be speaking to my co-star John Smallshaw that day when we're going to be doing an episode from the show. But that's not till the first week of July, so we've got lots to be going on with this episode, so I won't keep you anymore. Let's get on, and I hope you enjoy what's coming along. I can see a load of bikes coming my way, so I think it's about time I jumped in the hedge and avoided being mown down. Okie dokie. This might be a very bad idea, but As I may have mentioned before, I have been writing some sketches using the fictional version of Shy Yeti, and I have been posting them on my blog, and I'm going to put them together into a book, but that won't be out until the start of next year. What I thought would be quite fun would be to record some of these sketches. Now, some of them I think I'm probably going to play both characters and change the pitch of the voice, and we'll see how that goes. But maybe I'll also have one or two special guests playing the other character. Most of the scripts only involve two characters, maybe three at most. We will see how it goes. I will yes, so the first one is called Shy Yeti Writes a Musical, and it goes something like this.
Picture the scene. Shy Yeti waits patiently in the reception area of Lords and Ladies Theatrical Publishing Sons & Co Limited.
You can go in now, sir. Mr. Lords will see you now.
Thank you most kindly.
Shy Yeti gets to his paws and then enters the office. Mr. Lords, a rather large gentleman dressed as a showgirl, sits on the other side of the table. Ah, Mr. Yeti, I presume. How delightful to meet you.
No, it's my pleasure, really it is.
I know. Listen now, you may be wondering why I've called you here. Well, I'd be happy to explain. You see, you have been highly recommended to me by my good friend Charlie Gurr. We're in desperate need of a big new West End musical, and apparently you are the one to speak to when an idea is acquired in double quick time. We need something that is already written and that can go to stage within the next few weeks. Our original option has completely fallen through. Charlie tells me that you've got hundreds of unwritten plays and musicals stored away for potential use.
Oh, good gracious, so that's it. I do indeed. For a minute there I thought you called me in to catalogue a book or hypnotise a pensioner or something. I got in terrible trouble the last time I tried that. I didn't mean any harm, only her pet spaniel was complaining that their owner was snoring too loudly. That poor lady. She spent the rest of her days thinking that she was a glam rock star. Of course, the upside was that she did pretty well on the 70s revival circuit. Anyway, it's a relief.
Yes, well, I can see how it probably would be most distressing. Anyway, moving on. Do you think you can help me? You'll be well paid, of course. All the pies you can eat and then more.
Sure. Charlie was right. Yes, it is true about my store of ready-written scripts. I'm pretty confident that I have something that you'll be able to use. I'm really full of ideas. The only thing is...
A lot of your ideas are extremely silly, right?
Well, yes, if not extremely silly, then certainly ever so daft. How did you know?
Mr. Charlie did warn us that this might be the case, but he suggested that there might be something more appropriate for our purposes if you took something that you have meticulously listed in your notebook of finished musical scripts based on slightly dull ideas.
Why yes, I suppose I could do that.
Shy Yeti takes out his briefcase, which he wasn't carrying earlier, but which he now appears to have with him. He opens it up and takes out a little notebook, which is indeed entitled Finished Musical Scripts Based on Slightly Dull Ideas. Please, Yeti, do share some of your more ordinary thoughts with me, if you will.
Certainly, Mr. Lords, I'd be glad to. But are you sure you really want a slightly dull idea? I wrote a champion synopsis for a musical the other week, my solitary concern being that it's a bit similar to Cats, only my script is about badgers. Badgers who talk, sing, work in supermarkets, have heartbreaks and occasionally embezzle company funds before taking long holidays skiing in Switzerland.
Does sound very interesting, Mr. Yeti, but I still think I'd prefer to see one of your duller ideas.
Oh, very well. So, I have one here all about commuters waiting for their trains to arrive.
Blimey, that is dull.
Well, yes, that is what you asked for.
Yes, fair enough. But is that it? Just commuters standing there?
Well, they are all quite different. The characters, I mean. One of them is a chiropodist.
Oh yes, a chiropodist, you say. Well, I must admit that this is beginning to sound quite promising.
The big twist is that their trains are delayed.
Ah yes, I imagine that there are all manner of songs that can be written concerning the trauma of delayed trains. What happens then? Do some of the commuters fall in love?
Alas, no. Their trains never come and they eventually die on the platform and are pecked to pieces by hungry seagulls. It's all pretty tragic when you think about it. I had envisaged it as a comedy.
Well, I see. It all sounds very interesting. Maybe just a tad ambitious.
Well, I'll admit the last 10 minutes when the aliens invade could be a bit on the expensive side to stage.
Yes, indeed. And I'm not sure it's for us. I'm sorry. Would you have something else, perhaps?
Of course. Well, this one might suit you. It's pretty dull, which I know is what you're looking for.
Absolutely. So what exactly does it concern, Yeti?
Coffee shops, actually. Well, a cafe, I suppose you should say. It sells some delicious tortilla and the odd scone or two, has very nice flowers on every table.
That sounds more like set design than a plot description.
Well, yes, although I take it you don't require too much plot.
Some plot, yes, within reason. It's a delicate balance.
Well, this musical involves a gentleman who visits a coffee shop for 3 weeks during a change in his normal routine. This new coffee shop is very efficient, very polite, and they always remember his order.
How splendid. And do they sing some nice songs too?
1 or 2, yes. There's a whole 10-minute sequence where all the cast dress as lattes and dance with some life-size Danish pastries.
Right. And then?
At the end of the 3 weeks, the gentleman decides that he must tell the couple who run the cafe that he won't be coming back because he is no longer robbing houses in that district.
Doing what? He's a criminal. I thought he was a businessman or some such.
Oh no, he's definitely a cat burglar. Actually, a cannibalistic, telepathic cat burglar from Mars. But you needn't focus too closely on all that if it doesn't sit well with you.
Oh dear, really? I do think it's perhaps a little ambitious for West End tastes. I'd like to suggest a rewrite, but we need something ready to go. We just don't have the time. Please, Yeti, you are our last hope here. Might you have something a little more sedate?
Shy Yeti flicks through his little book of slightly dull ideas and stops somewhere near the back, looking thoughtful before he speaks.
I have one here about a lady who doesn't celebrate major religious holidays.
Is she from Mars, this lady? Does she eat people or steal from them?
Not in any draft I've written, she's not. I can assure you of that.
I'm happy to hear it, quite frankly. So what does she do exactly? Just sit there and do the crossword whilst not celebrating any major religious holidays?
That's right, yes. She watches the news and makes a sandwich just before the interval and then speaks to her mother on the phone during the second half. Oh, and obviously it's a musical, so she occasionally hums and also sings. She puts together a shopping list. Although, to be fair, her ability to hold a tune is no great shakes. But you can't have everything now, can you?
Well, no. No, I suppose not. So that's it. There's nothing you haven't told me about the plot.
Well, no, I don't think so. Except she has flashbacks. The lady, I mean. Her name is Stanley, by the way.
Right. And these flashbacks?
They take her back to her childhood when she accidentally poisoned the nanny with an off-fish finger and then set fire to a nun. Oh, and she shoots the vicar in the very last act, but he forgives her before he dies. Only the aliens don't forgive her, and the Earth is destroyed in a terrible cycling accident.
Right. Well, that all sounds fine to me. I was just worried it was going to be another one of your daft ideas.
Oh, no, not at all. I kept that one pretty simple. I call it Every Day is the Same, a story of loneliness.
Yeah. You wouldn't mind if we retitled it Tits, would you? It's just that we need something short and punchy to draw an audience in.
No, sure, that's fine. I think it still sums up the basic ethos of the piece.
Yes, I agree. Well, that's marvellous, Yeti. I think we can do business. Let's shake on it.
Shy Yeti does a little dance and the whole world applauds. Sadly, some aliens destroy the Earth by belching too loudly, and so, alas, Tits never gets performed after all. This is the end. I thank you for listening. Good night. We're back with part 2 of my interview with my old school friend Harry. We've got more stories of our adventures, and right, well, I shall start the interview up now. Right, here we go again. So, for a while you lived in Oxford when you
after university, you went to Oxford, and you worked in Oxford, and then for quite a while, I used to visit you, and we used to go out in Oxford, and when we used to come back, we used to.
What was the club that we went to?
In Oxford, the
Coven.
The Coven.
Yeah, that's it.
And there was
And
also
the
that.
Farmers.
There was also that place that was up in the, like in a school hall.
Oh yes, Westgate. Was it Westgate?
Westgate,
Centre or something like that.
And
actually, that was even better really than the Coven in a way because it was more community.
And you smuggled me into a couple of Oxford uni debates.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you did.
Fantastic.
Twice. One. I think there was one with John McCruick was there talking about sexism or something.
You need that sort of expert, don't you?
Well, no, he was obviously on the other side. He was on the other side. I can't remember who he was more traditional.
Yeah, I was surprised.
But we used to always go on the way to on the way home afterwards. We used to go to one. The Oxford's quite legendary, known for its, or was, not for its universities, but for its burger vans. And
yes, we would have the special kebab treat, which was kebab meat, chips. But then on top, baked beans, with cheese on top, and then they'd have the sauces.
Yeah, that was good.
My goodness me, that was incredible.
One time, and this kind of links into the other question, is because as we explored outside of Oxford, this is when we started going up to London to try different bars in London, and sometimes we were trying to find where we fitted in well, when we didn't fit in, and there were obviously some bars that were very much, you have to have a certain look, you have to have a certain way. But then we also started going to a nightclub called Pop Stars, which was really good because Pop Stars had 3 or 4. We went there 2 or 3 different venues over the years.
Well, it had decent music, didn't it? And it would have different
floors
with different decades,
different types of music. So you could go and listen to indie music. You could go and listen to cheesy pop or 80s,
90s, couldn't you?
I mean, that was what was so good, that we were able to go and dance around to some of. It was after the Britpop era, but they were still playing that sort of music.
It was decent tunes, and it's not like, without once again wanting to sound elderly, it's so much better than the stuff that they play in clubs nowadays, which is all bit bop, bit bop, bit
bop. Well, I don't know because I haven't been to clubs. What they play in them?
Now beats, but I have.
I'm sure you can go. I'm sure you can find clubs that still play the older music.
Well, do they still do that thing Wig Out or still? Or
I'm not sure what clubs they still have.
Because Wig Out would be also sort of.
I think that venue doesn't exist anymore because they knocked it down. So whether it moved to a different place or whether that's the.
Well, you see, that's it, isn't it? It's all sort of that side of life is sort of closing down a bit now.
Yeah. If I was going to say is, I remember we used to go to. So, of course, that was London, and you were in Oxford.
Yeah.
We used to get the Oxford Tube back, and it used to be I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And I remember one time when we went,
came back, it was the sun was
the sun was just right, and we were like, it was a race to get down from the station back to your house and get to sleep before the sun started coming. Yeah. Particularly in the summer, we went in the summer, and I do remember.
But that was fun, wasn't it?
That was fun. That was fun, and we didn't. A lot of people would have been doing this, say, when they were 16, 17. We were a bit late with that. Right, we were much more like 25, 26, 20. We're talking in the late 90s, probably the late 90s when we were in Oxford. Started to explore London in like the very early noughties, perhaps 99, 2000 into. So we were like pushing 30 when we were doing this. So we had when we were teenagers, we were bookish, and the wildest thing we did probably was Sutton Park, wearing stockings on our heads, and people have different lives. It's fine. We also used to have our Christmas parties, didn't we? We haven't had one for the last few years, one way or another. They weren't big Christmas parties like some people might have. We'd invite
one friend each.
Yeah. So there would only perhaps be 4 people in the room, probably, because the space, our flats. Your flat, my flat, they weren't really big enough to have more than that. So it was very much like...
We've had it at your place, haven't we?
We had it in my place. We tend to have it in yours because it's in London and people we were inviting were in London, or then perhaps we might have been doing something in London afterwards, so it was... So it made sense. And we even were doing them back in the days when you lived in Oxford. The early ones were when we were still in Oxford. It was just a traditional Christmas dinner that you and I would make together. I think you always did the lion's share of the work.
Well, I always got the sort of guests to do a little bit like peeling potatoes and crossing the Brussels sprouts and stuff like that.
It reminds me of another thing related to food, that when we were at school in the summer holidays, we used to make our pizzas.
Yeah, we would make too many layers.
Well, yeah, we'd have like, I don't know, did we have like a £10 each budget or something?
Like that, yeah.
And so we'd buy far too much, and then of course we'd have to eat it. So each piece.
Wouldn't actually cook
No,
food.
I mean, we never killed ourselves because it was only like salami or ham, or it wasn't. It was just that, and cheese. So it wasn't going to kill us. It was, but it wasn't always cooked. It was probably the topping was a lot bigger than the base.
Yeah.
But
Hello, it's me, your Yeti Uncle John. I'm just dropping you another one of my chats to see how you're doing and let you know what I've been up to. I had a message on the Twitter place. Somebody had heard one of my messages and they said that my voice sounded different from message to message. I ought to say I actually have a condition where my voice changes. It's quite a serious condition. My voice does sound different, but then you've met me, you understand that. So it's not something I can really help, but needless to say, it was me. Both those messages was me on different days. It's just the way I live my life, I suppose. I enjoyed hearing you talking with your old school friend. He sounds like a real card. Sounds like a right character. I suppose I don't remember if I've met him before or not, but yes, he sounds like a nice person to have gone to school with. I'm looking forward to hearing you talk about other things this episode. I suppose he must know a lot about you. Did you ever tell him the story about when you used to wet the bed? Yes. I expect you laughed. I bet he laughed. Yes. That's one of my favourite stories. I don't know if I've told it on here before, but yes. Well, I hope you're keeping all right. I've been busy in my shed this weekend. Yes, you've seen my shed, haven't you? I've always liked to invent things, but it's not always easy. I've been working on, and it's a little bit top secret, I've been working on a time machine, building a time machine, because I thought it would be quite interesting to go back to 1976 and have a little dance to some disco and stuff. I mean, I did it before, but I miss those days. I love the fashions. I'm a bit self-conscious though. I don't like going to these parties, these discos, where everyone's dressed up. It feels unreal, so I'd like to build a time machine and go back wearing the clothes and feel that I'm doing it at the time it was meant to happen. Yes. Anyway, my plans for a time machine haven't worked out too well so far. This'll make you laugh. I only spelt it wrong, and now I've got more time and herbs than I know what to do with. Yes, a time machine. T-H-Y-M-E. I never thought. I'm stupid. But that's your Yeti Uncle John for you. I've never been any good at spelling. Yes. Anyway, I suppose I should ring off. I've got some more an appointment to go to. You remember I was having my nostrils probed the other day, last time we spoke? Well, I only got the poker stuck up my nose, the poker blush thing, and I had to wander around with it up my nose for the last week or so. So I'm having it removed today. That might even help with my accent, apparently. I don't know. Anyway, I'll get going. Take care, and don't wet the bed, will you? Oh dear. What are you like?
I wasn't going to do anything about films or TV in this episode, but I've just seen a film that it's an old film, but really enjoyed it. So just a quick recommendation. It's a 1970 film called Deep End. Although it is set in England and there were scenes filmed in Soho, It was also filmed in Germany. It wasn't a British director. It stars Jane Asher, who had been Paul McCartney's girlfriend in the 60s, of course. The main characters are working in a London swimming baths, and she is a slightly older girl to this young guy who started working at the baths, who gets obsessed with her, and she sort of manipulates him a bit. And, well, I can't tell you too much about the story because I don't want to spoil it, but it has got some great cameos, particularly from Diana Dawes, who plays one of the customers of the baths, and she has an eye for the young guy who is like 17, 18, just left school. She's as obsessed with him as he is with Jane Asher's character. There's lots of really good bits, and it's good to see 60s Soho, and I'm really enthusiastic. And the disc that I have got is released by the BFI, and it's got a great documentary on that film, and there's some really good extras, and there's a documentary about missing scenes, and another little film with Jane Asher in that's 10 minutes long, which is a bit like a mini Tales of the Unexpected. Yeah, really awesome film. I didn't know anything about it. I can't remember how I came across it. It could just be one of those things where, you're on Amazon and it recommends other things to you. The good thing is that it is one of those double discs where it's Blu-ray and a DVD, so I can keep the Blu-ray here, and definitely think that my friend Nick down in Salisbury will enjoy this film. I shall be taking that down to show him. Okay, just a little recommendation. Deep End, 1970. Director is, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Jerzy Skolimowski. Definitely pronounced that wrong. Oh dear, it's a great film anyway. Moving on.
Hello, it's me, Damius Twinklehorn. I'm back again to speak with you. Yes, I'm out and about today. I've been asked to do a special roll. Yes, not a cheese roll or a ham roll, although that would be nice. No, I've been asked to play a forest. Yes, in a film. It's because I played a tree all those years ago, I think. They know that I'm an expert in these sorts of things. So, that's what we'll be doing today. Oh, by the way, I was in Cat Hamlet the other day, wasn't I, yes? That didn't go so well. Another cat stole my milk. That was disappointing, I must say. Anyway, I must get on. I've got trees to play and leaves to recreate. All later.
I've discussed on the Shall Life podcast before now holidays that I've shared with people who have been my guests, and Callum and I had quite a long chat about this, about where we've been. But some of the main holidays I can think of, I've got them listed here. This probably is not quite in order, but I'll try and do them in order. San Francisco is the first time I remember having. That was for my 30th. San Francisco. We also went on to Vegas.
I got lucky.
You got lucky, yes.
The first night. I think it's the first night.
Yes.
No, maybe it was the second night.
It was a funny holiday because we were both there with our exes, weren't we?
Yes, that was very strange. So when I went off that second night, I felt kind of bad for my then ex, as it were.
Yeah.
But he didn't seem to be too bothered about
it. Well, your ex, my ex, and my friend Julie.
It was a very bizarre situation because I went down to that club. I can't remember what it was called.
It was
Lone Star.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Lone Star. And this guy, he kept on snorting something in like a cigarette lighter. It wasn't a cigarette lighter.
Probably just flour. Or sherbet.
Anyway, I went back with him to a very dangerous part of San Francisco called Oaklands, and we went back there and we just watched Madonna videos.
My goodness, Madonna videos!
I think it might have been sorting cocaine also, I wasn't sure about that, but anyway.
Oh my goodness, Madonna videos!
Anyway, so, and then the next morning I was trying to find my way back to the hotel, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness, Madonna videos.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Callum and I were trying to find the locations from the Tales of the City books, and we went to the main street is called Barbary Lane. I'm not sure it's called that in real life, but anyway, there's this area that's supposed to be that area, and Callum and I were walking along this little path, and it was November and there were fallen leaves, and it was so wet. It was wet, and I nearly slipped. So I nearly slipped and died on Barbary Lane, but I didn't. But I still think of how I diced with death.
Yeah.
It just shows you should be careful when you're following your things that you admire, people you admire, because it could lead to you falling down.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's bad.
And well, we could talk about San Francisco. Do you remember anything about Las Vegas?
I could say I didn't like Las Vegas. Were you okay with Las Vegas?
I've got a mixed history. I can probably do a whole podcast about my 3 visits to Las Vegas. It's not my favourite place in the world, but it's somewhere that I seem to be drawn to.
It was very seemed to be very self-contained. Obviously, there's all the gambling that's going on, but it's those slot machines that would all be ringing out at the same time. They actually hit a sort of a sonorous sort of chorus note, which was really painful.
Well, I only learnt on the next visit that I went there, that actually you can be playing games and somebody will come and say, "Would you like a drink?" And you just have to tip them. You don't have to pay the actual amount of the drink.
Just tip them.
You can just tip, but I didn't know this. So, and the time I went with you, that was my second visit. My first visit, I was there with Nick, and we definitely didn't know that, and we were quite short of money. We were like, "Oh no, we don't have a drink." If we'd have only known, we could have enjoyed ourselves even more. But now another one of the holidays. So that was my 30th birthday. Your 30th birthday was in Munich. That was a nice trip.
Yeah, we went to
for Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. That was great fun, wasn't it?
We had to have a couple of goes at it because the first time we arrived, it was so busy, wasn't it?
That was at the weekend, and all the tents were full of Germans in short shorts and.
I remember going to some nice restaurants and things, but the thing I remember most is when we did go in to the tent and we were having a nice afternoon. I think that day I'd had a headache, and you'd gone on with Steve, and you'd already been in the tent for an hour or so, and I guess we had. I don't know if I'd said, I'll be there at 2, or whether we had mobile phones that worked to a certain extent, because we're talking over 10 years now. And anyway, I went off and just sort of cleared my head and went back to some of the places we'd been to early in the week, near the park in the English Gardens. And anyway, when I joined you, I had perhaps a couple of these massive drinks, and you'd had perhaps 3. And then after we'd had 2, we said, well, we want to go and do something else before the evening meal. And Steve said, I'm just going to stay for one more.
That's right.
And we never saw him again until he got arrested. He woke up in a churchyard.
That's right.
He lost his glasses. And Steve's he's kind of quite petite build, relatively
and quite
tall, thin,
normally
quite, and
generally,
and this was
quite bizarre.
We're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do if he doesn't come back? Because we got his tickets, and and I'm like, do we just leave him at the bar? No, we can't. Do we call the police?
Hotels were very expensive, so you had to sleep in the bar. When we were sharing rooms, weren't we? You had to sleep in the bar.
I don't think I did. I think I just did because
snoring.
Yeah, I think that was the only reason. Yeah, I slept in the bath to give Steve a bit of respite from my snoring. But now another trip we had, which is probably the next order, is we went to Dublin. That was for our 20th anniversary of being friends.
That's right. What we did was we decided to live our life by the roll of the die.
Yes.
And so we rolled dice. Basically, you'd have options 1 to 6. You'd roll the die and you basically follow whatever option you put down on paper.
Yeah.
And I think that we might have got friends to come up with some various suggestions. But the only one that I can really remember was the one where we had to mimic each other.
I remember where we had to dress up as Bonnie Langford, or something, or scream, or we had to have a wig, and we had to reenact a cliffhanger from Doctor Who or something like that.
The mimicking one was very tough. We were only able to do it for a little bit of the time. We got the same T-shirt, I think.
Yeah.
and then basically I think what I said was, I'll just follow you. So basically whenever you went for a sip, I had to take a sip. You know, if you scratched your nose, I scratched my nose, that sort of thing.
You did this on other holidays.
That's right. I did it before by myself in Barcelona.
Because you got one of mine, and I said, like, go to the nearest art gallery and stare at a picture for an hour.
Yeah, that was painful.
And then I got a text from you going, I'm sitting looking at this bloody photograph, this bloody picture.
I remember it's the artist was Tapis, Tapis. And it was actually a little bit nondescript. It was a seaside sort of picture, and he'd hung his T-shirt over the side of the portrait. And then I had to write 100 words on it, because you stipulated that.
Yeah, what a taskmaster I was.
We've got a 100-word email about this picture.
To be fair, nobody when we did it in Dublin, nobody suggested anything like absolute street naked through the street. We wouldn't have done that because we're wusses, and we wouldn't have done anything too crazy. The things we did were interesting or different, or they could be hard, but ultimately they were relatively safe. But I really enjoyed that trip to Dublin, because my first trip to Dublin I got food poisoning and didn't get to see, because we went to the Guinness factory. That was fun as well. I just generally I think we went to the zoo as well, possibly. Vaguely remember going to the zoo. Anyway, and that was a good trip. Now I got 3 more that I can think of. Nice was very good. We both
were we self-catering?
Yes, we were. It was a weird self-catering. It was a hotel where it was like a room with a hob. But it was quite good. And
we kept on doing a meatball-y type tomatoey.
We had quite a good there was a quite good delicatessen nearby.
That's right. Kept on.
You went to a club and I got scared because you couldn't see what the club was.
That's right. So you started.
And I was like, I've got a headache. I'm just going to go back now. You go to it.
Wait outside for a bit.
No, not very long. And then I went back to the hotel. The trouble is we only had one key, so I had to try and stay awake, and I didn't. And then the next thing I know, you're knocking on the door, probably after about 5 minutes. Like, I'm ready. Let me in now. Well, sorry. And we went to the gallery. I like that gallery because it's got the art gallery, the modern art gallery. It's got really good views of the city. And
Nice is very beautiful anyway.
And we went to another gallery up in the hills a bit more. Well, both of us have been back with different friends. I've used it as basis for other travels and trips and things. It is a nice city. Now, jumping 10 years as far as birthdays are concerned. When it was my 40th, we went to Florence,
we went to Pisa also, didn't we?
We went to Pisa. That's right. And I was trying to remember this. I was talking to Paul Hillier in one of the early episodes about this, because everyone sort of arrived different days. So of course I was there for all the days. So I have to remember with him which bits that you did, which bits he did.
A little bit later.
That's right. You didn't come on you didn't go on the coach trip. I don't think you arrived that night. But you went to Pisa. That was good, because Paul was relating how he remembers that I was kind of very much, we are going to do this whether it rains or not, and you'll see it's supposed to be so. Right, and then of course the weather did improve and it was really nice, and he was very fair about it. But the way he told it, you must listen back. He tells it. He's very funny. How he describes how I was like, he's like, everyone was really scared of me because I was like, it's supposed to be sunny at lunchtime, so we're going.
Yes, you were very forthright.
Yeah,
so it was a little bit more.
I don't lose my. I had the hair. I don't lose my temper very often, but I don't know. I was it's my birthday. It's got to be nice. In fact, my actual birthday, it rained and rained. But we spent quite a lot on
Well, sometimes it works out when you make a stand. Sometimes people remember those more, I think.
It was fun. It was fun. I know. It was fun. It was fun. We had some really nice meals, and even though my actual birthday day was wet, we had a nice long lunch, and we went to and people were leaving that day anyway. So it was one of those things where you kind of, the whole event was the birthday, not necessarily the actual day. But you would probably agree that I am very much a birthday person. I'd like to do things for my birthday.
Yes.
But, now, the last place we're going to talk about relating dates back to where I've just come back from holiday. For your 40th, we went to Amsterdam, and I didn't get food poisoning like I did the other week.
For change.
And only twice, but that was a good trip. You had some people turn up sort of short notice, and Stephanie, she just came for 24 hours. She went on the bus.
That was fantastic. She must have had such a
she went on the boat and slept on one night, and then got off the boat and spent the day with you. Then went back on the boat, and then But we went to it. Now I was looking at I think a story or something I wrote. I sort of fictionalized our trip, and I actually listed the food that we had as in the story. So I think we went to a Greek meze.
Oh, that was the first night, because I really fancied Greek food.
Yeah, we went.
And actually, went wow. Everybody liked it.
Yeah. We went.
We had Alistair, the philosopher Alistair, came along. Yes.
We went to an Indian restaurant.
That was lovely.
Went to an Indian restaurant. That was good. We went to.
Was it an Indonesian restaurant? Also?
I went to an Indonesian restaurant, and we also went to the cafe, the Amsterdam cafe place, which was quite near to the Anne Frank house, which
the coffee house.
Yes, that's the coffee house where I went back the other week because I enjoyed it so much there.
No, it's very nice, friendly service. Yeah.
I did actually speak to the lady, and I said to her, "We were here 2 years ago. We liked it," and I didn't tell her I'd written a story about about a murderer having his last cup of coffee in their cafe. But there we go. No. Doesn't say anything bad. It doesn't. Well, it doesn't say anything bad about their. It doesn't say anything bad about their cafe. But I still thought, it's one of those. It's one of those stories. No, well, it's one of those things where if you try to put it into, it needs more than like a 30-second conversation. You go, "Oh hi, I got a story about a murderer in your cafe." Chances are she's going to get a bit scared. So it's just, as you say, easier not to share or scare. But well, thank you very much, Harry. It's been great interviewing you. I'm sure we'll have you back, and we'll think of something else we can talk about. Yes, well, thank you very much. Moving on.
Well, thank you very much. Really good. It was lovely.
Thank you.
It was very good.
Good.
I enjoyed that.
Great.
Really good. Having sitting down with you and just going back.
It's been good. Yes.
A few those last times in our lives.
Yes, it's been great.
Those fleeting times.
Thank you. Who are you? What's your name? What's my name?
I don't know.
Isn't this just a dream? Going to go back to excavate my final collection. So I've picked 4 records. I didn't cheat. I didn't have a look. I just picked the first 4 that I came to. And the first one I've got here, I have to say I don't know a great deal about the album, although it has got one of my favourite songs on it. It's by Jane Wilderlin, and it's called Fur. It's from 1988. Now, Jane was in the Go-Go's, of course, who are one of my favourite bands. Almost up there with the Bangles. I kid you not. No, I love the Bangles. I love the Go-Go's. Right, yes, this album, Fur, it does have one of my all-time favourite songs on it. Has the single Rush Hour, which was a big hit in the UK as well. And I love that song. I still love that song. I don't think I played this copy of the album very often, because it's another one that was £1 at that musical mystery store, record shop that's now closed in Woking, near where I live. But I think I do have this, or at least I know I certainly, when I was in Venice a couple of years ago, I downloaded a Jane Wilderlin greatest hits, and possibly one of her more recent albums. So I probably do know some of these other tracks, but I don't know them by title. Some of the other songs are Inside a Dream, One Heart One Way, Homeboy, The End of Love, Lover's Night, Fur, Give, Song of the Factory, Whatever It Takes, and of course Rush Hour. Oh, well, moving on to the next album. This is probably another one I got cheap, but it is from 1978, and it is Night Flight to Venus by Boney M, which has got an album cover that is quite memorable, where Boney M seemed to be hanging on the end of a rope over a star system. Yes, and inside it has a picture of them, like sort of headshots of them all, and the 3 girls have got different coloured, sparkly, glittery sort of skullcap things on. It looks like they've escaped from an episode of Doctor Who. The back cover, they are trying to climb up a ladder, or standing at the bottom of a ladder, again dressed like something from Doctor Who. Now, what is on this album? This album, I guess this is probably one of their most famous albums. It has Night Flight to Venus, Rasputin, Painter Man, He Was a Steppenwolf, King of the Road, Rivers of Babylon, Voodoo Night, Brown Girl in the Ring, Never Change Lovers in the Middle of the Night, and Heart of Gold. Some of those were really big hits over here. I'm not sure how well Bodie M did outside of the UK. Definitely one of those bands that I remember growing up, always on the radio. Now the next album, the third of our 4 albums, is I suppose it's a bit of a cheat, because now for those of you, I don't know if this was a series that was beyond being released in the UK, but it's called Now That's What I Call Music, and it was a compilation album, and I think I've seen this on tape. It's actually the first one. I would say it's probably from 84, 83. Now, yeah, it's a series that started in that sort of time, but it looks like 83. Most of the things on here are from 83. Double album, that's right. So we've got all sorts of bands on this. We've got Phil Collins, You Can't Hurry Love, Duran Duran, Is There Something I Should Know, UB40, Red Wine, UB40, Red, I can't say it, UB40, Red Wine, La Mile, Only for Love, I don't think I know that one, Heaven 17, Temptation, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Give It Up, Malcolm McLaren, Double Dutch, Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart, Culture Club, Karma Chameleon, Men Without Hats, The Safety Dance, Kajagoogoo, Too Shy, Mike Oldfield, Moonlight Shadow, that's one of my mum's favourites, one of my favourites, Men at Work, Down Under, Rocksteady Crew, Hey You, Rocksteady Crew, Rod Stewart, Baby Jane, Paul Young, Whenever I Lay My Hat, New Edition, Candy Girl, Kajagoogoo, Big Apple, Tina Turner, Let's Stay Together, Human League, Fascination, Howard Jones' new song, UB40, Please Don't Make Me Cry, Peebo Bryson and Roberta Flack, Tonight I Celebrate My Love, Tracy Ullman, They Don't Know, Will Powers, Kissing with Confidence, Genesis, That's All, The Cure, The Love Cats, Simple Minds, Waterfront, Madness, The Sun and the Rain, that's my favourite Madness single, and Victims by Culture Club. This shows how nice and mixed the charts used to be when all sorts of genres were allowed to mix and were played by Radio 1, our biggest BBC radio station, where all the hits are played. Yeah, so this is 1983, and I was saying in the last episode how much I was enjoying the 1981 episodes of Top of the Pops, which we've just reached the New Year's Eve episode of 1981, so I'm hoping they'll go on to 1982, and obviously after that 1983, so hopefully some of these. Now Tracy Ullman, I forgot to mention when that was passing, of course, comedian Tracy Ullman, They Don't Know, that's one of my all-time favourite songs. That's a Kirsty MacColl cover version, but Tracy Ullman's version is the more famous version. She had 1 or 2 hits over here. I don't know if those songs ever went beyond European shores. Now, the 4th and final album this episode is from, now let's see if I find the year, 1983 again. It's another, pretty sure it's from that second-hand shop, as was the previous, most of these albums. I did go through a stage of vinyl, either in the very late 80s or very early 90s. I remember buying a Beverly Craven album on vinyl, like a famous, the one where she had her biggest hits. And I also was certainly buying singles in the late 80s, and so if I ever get around to going through my vinyl singles collection, then those will be actually ones I bought at the time, whereas these are just ones that I saw in shops and I thought, I'd like to own those. So anyway, this last album, 1983, now it's by Mute Records. Now if I think of Mute Records, the 2 bands that come to mind immediately, one is Erasure and the other is Depeche Mode, and this is a Depeche Mode album. Construction Time Again, 1983. I'd make a guess that this was probably their 3rd album, only because bands tended to release an album a year and their first album was 81. Might be their second, I'd have to Google it. This has got
love in itself, more than a party, pipeline, everything counts, 2-minute warning, shame, the landscape is changing, told you so, and then. Everything counts, I would say, is probably the biggest hit on this album. It's got a man with a sledgehammer on the front, looking at a mountain. Well, looking like he's going to hit the mountain, but really, I'm not sure he's going to achieve that much with that sledgehammer. Anyway, right, well, that's all for... We need to think of a name for this segment. Vinyl excavation section, I don't know. No, suggest some better names. Vinyl vaults, no, I'm sure that's been done. Anyway, moving on. And, yes, there are other things. Move on. We're ended up in a cafe, and we've got some very interesting coffees. And never seen a croissant with a vanilla. It's like what you'd have like inside a vanilla donut. Yes. And your coffee is interesting as well.
It's got sort of tiramisu sort of concoction on top of the coffee.
Yes, it's got like little sponge fingers, and I've got a coffee with something floating in the top, and I've got a Black Forest cherry piece of cake, which looks very delicious. Well, we won't hold you up. We're going to eat our lovely coffee, and we're going to eat our lovely cake and drink our lovely coffee. Yes. Yeah, it's very nice.
Hello, it's me, Damius Trinklehorn. Did you hear me there? I was trying to wave my leaves around for you, just so you could see, as part of me being a forest. Even I think I've done a pretty good job. The producers of the film seem quite pleased. The only thing I'm worried about is that at the end of the film there's a big forest fire. I'm not quite sure what that means for me. I expect there will be some kind of stunt double for that part of the film. At least I hope so. I've got more films to do. I'm meant to be playing a fruit bowl in a French film, coming up. I'm looking forward to that. I particularly perfected my pineapple, as it were. Yes, I think I do a very good impersonation of a pineapple. But I'm having trouble with the grapefruit. You think that would be easy? Wouldn't you? Grapefruit, circular. You think that the pineapple would be the hard one, but no. Quite good at being tall and spiky. I've got the hairdo right on. Anyway, I better go. I can smell smoke. This is me, Damius Trinklehorn, signing out.
Well, we're nearly at the end of the episode, and I do feel bad about cheating last episode with the whole Dealey thing. Do you remember? I falsified the meows. I did them I didn't do them myself. I got Damius to do them, but it still comes to the same thing ultimately. I genuinely really. I want to know what Dealey's thinking, so I'm just going to go and ask him now. Hopefully he'll be in a talkative mood. Hello? Do you like it? Did you enjoy the episode, Dealey? I'm sorry about last time. So, did you enjoy the episode? You did? That makes me very happy. Are we friends again? Come on, have a cuddle. We're going to have a cuddle. So, moving on. Well, that's all we've got time for episode 6 of the Shy Life podcast. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm not sure who will be our guest on episode 7. Got a number of people lined up, but we haven't recorded anything yet. But there will be something for you next time. Don't worry about that. I've also got a poetry show coming up, and we're going to record an episode from that. So, yes. Well, it's time to go. So, see you again soon. Take care. Bye now. Alas, no. Their trains never come and they eventually die on the platform and are pecked to pieces by hungry seagulls. It's all pretty tragic when you think about it. I had envisaged it as a... Hello! 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 It's me! Don't know who that was.